As you can see, if you're watching on YouTube right now, I am decked up in Honolulu blue. Yes, we didn't make the postseason, but you know what? We didn't have a losing record either. You know, like 5 minutes turned to 10 minutes, turned to 15 minutes, and then he was on that field for 23 minutes. It was the most nerve-wracking moments ever.
Yeah, TikTok, I'm just rolling on the block. Marisa took me, heard that. Podcast show about to start. Heard that. You should know if entertainment is your goal. You talking sports or travel, yo. This the hottest pod show. Heard that. She got her shoes, everything she says is truth. If you don't know, now you know. All you ever gotta say is heard that, heard that, heard that, heard that, heard that. Look, all you ever gotta say.
What's up, Heard That Nation? Listening in the United States and around the world, you are now listening to the Heard That with Marisa Tigney podcast. Need y'all do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube right now so you can stay in the know of every single episode that's coming up in this fantastic 2023 New Year. Happy New Year, everybody. So glad to be back on the microphone on the ones and twos. I had a wonderful, relaxing time in Phoenix with my family. Shout out to everybody in Phoenix, Arizona. They were very kind, very hospitable to myself, to my husband. I had a good time with my sister-in-law and her family. I do not call them in-laws. Like when I tell you I married into the best family, I literally hit the jackpot of all families. So shout out to my amazing in-laws, my sisters, my parents. Just absolutely wonderful, wonderful people. I have no ill will towards them, and every single one of them. It's always a good time. So I had a great time off. I hope everybody had a great year. First few days into the new year have been absolutely exciting for me, even before I got back onto this microphone to talk about things that are going on in the new year in sports and other things like that. So we're going to get right into it. But let me give a special shout out. And then I'm gonna tell you why momentarily. I want to give a shout out to, and hopefully you have Instagram. If you don't have Instagram, you need to get Instagram. Shout out to Natasha Simona. She's on Instagram. Natasha Simona Sequence is her show. She does a morning show. She does a nighttime show. And shout out to her executive producer, Rick Party. You can find him on 104.3 Jams in Chicago. Load up the Audacity app, Odyssey. I don't say the Audacity. The Odyssey app on your phone or your computer, odyssey.com. Pull up 104.3 Jams. Rick Party. His show is on 10 to 2 on Central Standard Time. And I want to give a special shout out to them because on one of her shows, she had the legendary broadcaster from ESPN, Jay Harris, on her show. And unbeknownst to me, that was on the audience, she had sent me a message saying, hey, do you ready to talk about, and I'm going to talk about it in this podcast shortly, about the Damar Hamiln and the update on him. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. But, let's talk about, let's go into it, and give the audience an update of how he's doing and what the Buffalo Bills organization and his teammates are doing. And so I was ready to, start off her show with a sports segment, and then she was going to have Jay Harris on, and I just was so happy to be in the audience because this man is a legend. He's been on the broadcast almost 20 years. He had talked about it during the conversation that he had with Tosh, and unbeknownst to me, she had cammed me up, and I got to talk to him.
This is like, I love this moment. Like this is like giving me happy feelings.
I have been following his career for so long, and I just admire when you see someone not only hold the anchor desk like that, but you see someone of color, that represents, every single dreamer like myself that, talks sports and has played sports and want to do something in this business, and you see your face on there. And then when Jamel was on there and Carrie was on there, Stephen A, and all of that, just representation just matters right there behind the sports desk or out there at a game. And you, sir, I'm just in awe of what you do. And as Tosh said, the difficult conversations, you handle those every single time with grace and with class. So I'm just honored to be talking to you right now. I really am.
Mine. It is all mine. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And when I tell you that was a moment for me, that was just incredible. And let me back up a little bit further because this is what I did. So when this year's a big year for me, and I think I mentioned it right before the holidays, this is a big year. Your girl turns 50. I'll be 50 this year, 50 in March. And I wrote 50 things that I want to do in 2023. And looking at my list, one of the things, and several things on my list, and we a few days into the new year, and several things have already happened. And one of them was that I wanted to either have on my show or somehow network with some incredible television, sports media personalities that, I admire because of their work, because how they connect with the audience, because of some of the things they may do off camera, off the microphone, and, are so into their communities. And I've spoke so much about how much I admire people that are well known to have a big platform, what they do in their communities and how much they make an impact. And so she had canned me up, and I was able, after freaking out, because this was big, because I admire the work that Jay Harris does, and him and Hannah Storm, which I hope one day, I'm throwing that out there to meet her too, do so well on SportsCenter, and they're just an amazing tandem right there at the sports desk. And to me, and I got to tell him that he connects with an audience, not just, reporting on sports and what's going on in games and giving the audience an update on, different games that took place, basketball, baseball, football, championship games, you name it. But just, the way that he connects with an audience is absolutely incredible. So I got to talk to him, and I got to ask him about the legendary Stuart Scott and what advice that Stuart gave him. And I was so doggone nervous. I took so long to ask him the question because I just wanted to get it right. And he gives an incredible story, and I have it loaded up on my page. But if not, you can catch a snippet of it. But definitely follow Natasha Simona at I am Natasha Simona, Simona, as she has the full interview with Jay Harris and how he got into ESPN, which is quite extraordinary. His wife was the one that submitted his resume into getting onto SportsCenter. So it was not all of his doing. That was a fascinating story. And then the advice that he got from Stuart Scott for an event that he went in place of him, because this was unfortunately the time where Stuart's health wouldn't allow him to travel at the time, and gave him a piece of advice that said, do you. And the story is absolutely remarkable. So if you have a moment, you can go on my page, Marisa _Tigney, TIGNEY _podcast, and check it out. But like I said, the full interview on I am Natasha Simona. And she also has a YouTube page. It's absolutely incredible. But I wanted to get started the show and just give a shout out to them, because giving me an opportunity to come on their platform, her platform, and then Rick Party on his radio station as well. I just get so honored to have those opportunities, since, a new girl in the game as far as podcasting and media and everything else. I'm 2 years in, but as I said on other platforms, and I've said on here, that I'm always a student of the game. And in order for you to improve and to move up to different levels of where you want to be, you always got to have that opportunity to learn and to grow your brand. So I just wanted to give a shout out to them, and shout out to Jay Harris, who's now officially following me on Instagram. That also was, an amazing moment that I had on my list. So if you do not have a vision board, or you do not have anything that you have written down that you want to accomplish this year, I highly suggest that you do it. So that myself, I wanted to challenge myself, not only the fact that I'm getting out of the 40s and stepping into a new chapter of 50 and this whole journey that I'll have for the next 10 years, but I want to elevate myself when it comes to this podcasting and comes to, being a better wife, being a better daughter, being a better sister, being a better auntie, being, the best that I can be in every field of what I write down. I see it before me. I want to make sure that, when I come and those thoughts come to me and say, you don't have enough experience, or, you're not at this level, or you're not mainstream, or you're not on television, you're not going to get this guest. That I can look at what I wrote down and, turn that negative into a positive, and, just press on and try to make things happen. And when I tell you that I got some guests coming up on this podcast, it's going to be absolutely amazing. I'm so excited about who's going to join the show soon. So as you can see, if you're watching on YouTube right now, I am decked up in Honolulu blue, because shout out to my boys and Lions. First of all, yes, we didn't make the postseason, but you know what? We didn't make the postseason, but we didn't have a losing record either. we did what we had to do to take care of another team that didn't make the postseason either, which was the Green Bay Packers. And not only that, my boys have swept them. And I put a video up and everybody was commenting on and everything else. But when I tell you, I am passionate about my boys. And I was giving a shout out to the real fans.
Listen, do you guys got the brooms out? Do you got the brooms out? Because many people doubted this team. Many people doubted this team this season. Lions fans, the hardcore fans, the so-called part-time fans. I'm going to dress every single one of y'all up in this doggone video.
The real One Pride fans that have been with this team through and through since either they was raised as a Lion fan or they became a Lion fan through somebody else. Those are the real fans. Through the lowest of lows when this team was the first team to go 0-16 to the highest of highs, which I would say this moment right here. Media experts, and I've talked about this on my show, media experts said that this team was going to only win 3 games. And this team found a way to win 9. And that to me is a lot of grit. They were featured on Hard Knocks this season. And you hear all the time about, oh my gosh, Hard Knocks is going to be a season killer because once you get on Hard Knocks and they have the cameras rolling and they're behind the scenes, that's where your season tanks. And in the beginning, it's been ups and downs and hills and valleys, the highest of highs, lowest of lows of being a Lions fan. But I am dedicated to my fandom. They're like, this is my team. This is what I raised in, Michigan girl from Lansing, but my big Detroit teams, they're it, right? And so I've had people like DM me and post up saying, oh, gosh, your team is 1-6, same old Lions, get ready to pick second or first in the draft. Y'all can't get any worse. And somehow throughout the season, the back end of the season, things started to click. It won 2 games. I was like, all right, let's just keep it going. Because you had the Texans that were struggling. And then you saw somewhat the decline of the Bears starting to happen. So all this was taking place. Then they win 3 games. Then they win 4. And you're like, all right, maybe I should come have a couple of sips of the Hallelujah Blue Kool-Aid. Like we were like, I'm sipping it, I'm bathing it, and I'm baptizing myself in. I'm like, I don't know about that, but let's slow it roll. I mean, we won 4 games. Let's pump the brakes on all that. And they just kept winning. And this last game, to me, you'll see it up on my video if you're following me on Twitter and on Instagram and on TikTok. I posted it on TikTok. I literally had to pull over. I was on my way to the store, and I literally had to pull over when I got the alert. And I just screamed, because this was everything. I think there was 3 people, and shout out to these 3 people. Like America, here's the thing. Let me back up because I'm just so excited about my team. We're the only ones, once again, that did not have a Sunday night, a Thursday night, or a Monday night football game. All of our games were in the afternoon, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 12 o'clock Central Standard Time, 12 o'clock for me because I'm in Texas. So there's a lot of games I couldn't see, but I have, shout out to having Fire Stick and my husband getting it because he is a Cowboys fan. So shout out to my amazing husband that, was like, listen, here you go. You can watch your games, make all the noise you want in the other room. You scream at the TV. So some of the games I was able to catch and, watch and review and intense. And when I tell you the back half of this season and what the coaching team has done and what Dan Campbell has done in his 3rd year with this team has been absolutely amazing. Jamal Williams breaking 1,000 yards and getting 17 rushing touchdowns against Green Bay, the last game of the season. I mean, he was just an absolute man on a mission. Aiden Hutchinson, I don't know where in the world people had thought that he was going to be a bust. I mean, you just get these naysayers to just make up things. And this is even the Detroit and those in the surrounding cities, though their little shows and media outlets and all of that was saying he was going to be horrible. I don't know where they got that from, him being the number 2 pick in the draft. It's amazing how a full year just comes around. When Jacksonville, shout out to them, Jacksonville Jaguars are in the postseason. They were the number 1 pick last year. We were the number 2 pick last year and got Aiden Hutchinson. And coming off of a horrible, I think we were 3-13-1 or 3-14-1. It was horrible. But to come off of that and have a 9-8 season, not many people picking you, fair-weathered fans jumping off the boat, they're trying to come back on, people burning jerseys. yelling at the Ford family that, oh no, you got a failure of a coaching team. Oh, Dan Campbell is not that guy. Jared Goff, what kind of quarterback did we trade for? We need to bring back Stafford. I mean, every single tweet and Facebook posting of this was just absolutely mind-blowing of all the fair-weather fans. And some of them I had to mute because they were just so toxic. So to see Jamal Williams break Barry Sanders, the GOAT, and I already put it out there in the atmosphere, and that's on my list, by the way, of the 50 things I want to do in my 50th, to have Barry Sanders, the GOAT, number 20, the running back legend on this show for the Detroit Lions. He broke his record, and it was really cool for Barry Sanders to go on there and give him a shout out and to thank him, not thank him, but just basically congratulating him and said, you got more to do. There's more in you to do. So, and so now he holds the record. Jamal Williams, Kirby Joseph, outstanding. Again, Aiden Hutchinson, outstanding. Jared Goff not throwing an interception in the back end. I don't think that has been said enough. Jared Goff did not throw one interception. And in that game, Aaron Rodgers, as Stephen A. Smith says, the bad man that he is, he threw a pick, right? So all of this stuff happening. Shout out to Rex Ryan. Shout out to Tony Dungy. Shout out to Terry Bradshaw, the legendary Terry Bradshaw, Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback. America on Sunday night said that 55% picked, and it's probably from us, the real fans, the dedicated fans that said that we were going to win. 55% of America said we were going to win it. And that was the only nighttime game that the Lions had in the cold temperatures showcased that night. And of course, this was, the hype that was happening. It was blown up for everybody to watch because once again, for the Lions, they had to hope that Seattle would lose to the Rams and that the Lions had to beat Green Bay in order for them to get that 7th spot in the NFC for the wild card. And then it took overtime. Baker Mayfield throwing a pick. Thank you, Baker Mayfield. And then their kicker kicked it from Seattle, kicked it and made it into there. And then, Seattle claimed that 7th spot. So it was whoever ran the social media, on Twitter literally was cheering for the Lions. And it was just like, I was just so salty about it. It's like, okay, they're in it. They're cheering for us. I don't want them to be in it. I want us to be in it. So it was just sad to see, that my boys were eliminated. But you know what? Head to toe, Honolulu Blue today. That's what I'm rocking. Because I'm so proud of this team. I'm so proud of Dan Campbell and the coaching staff. I can't wait to see who we're going to pick up in the draft coming up in April. We got 2 picks. We got the Rams pick. I think we sit at 6 and 7. Then we at number 18 with our pick. So it is the first time in a long time that the Lions are not in the top 10 for a pick on their own pick, not besides the pick that we're going to get from the Rams. But that is how they ended the season at 9 and 8. I mean, I'm just proud of this team. I'm proud of the grit, and that has been talked about all season long. The grit that this team has had. They finally found a way to make it happen, and I cannot wait to see who we're going to pick up and what's going to happen for them at the end. So, but nevertheless, we're not in the postseason, but you know what? It's going to be a great postseason after all. I have the Bills going, and I had this before everything took place with the situation that happened on Monday night, the unfortunate situation that turned out to be an absolutely amazing miracle after a week. I picked the Buffalo Bills. They were my early pick to win the Super Bowl. I think it's time, and it's not when you think of the Buffalo Bills and you think back of the Jim Kelly era. He was their quarterback, and the multiple times that they went to the Super Bowl and just couldn't get it done. And, Dallas Cowboys had that team led by Troy Aikman, and they won the Super Bowl. And it was many times, I think it was 3 or 4 times that the Jim Kelly led Buffalo Bills got there, and 4 times they were denied. And I picked them all 4 times during that Super Bowl. I'm like, okay, this is their year. They're going to make it happen. Didn't happen. Next year they get there. And the football players have said it is hard to get to the postseason, let alone win your conference, let alone get to the AFC Championship, the NFC Championship, and let alone get to the Super Bowl and win it. So They are my pick. They are my pick more so now because a week ago, that scary situation that happened with Damar Hamlin, safety for the Buffalo Bills, he went in for a hit. It was like 5:58 left in the first quarter, and he had tackled T. Higgins, wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals. This was at the Bengals, Buffalo Bills at the Cincinnati Bengals, Monday Night Football. This was for the AFC #1 seed. So a lot of implications were on the line when it came to this game. And so 5:58 left in the first quarter. He tackles, textbook tackle on T. Higgins, and then gets up and attempts to take 2 steps forward and collapse. And I had someone on my show, on my IG page, on my IG Live, and unfortunately the connection didn't come in, but they were typing through the chat so that the people that were joining the show could see what the experience was like for her right there on the sidelines watching this game. And she had said that Raycor Stadium, and when the Bengals fans are out there, she goes trying to have a conversation out in the stands. You know, when you're watching your team play, it's hard because it's that loud, it's that intense. She said that particular night when like 5 minutes turned to 10 minutes, turned to 15 minutes, and then he was on that field for 23 minutes. She said literally it was so quiet in that stadium you could hear a pin drop. And she had said that it was the most nerve-wracking moments ever. And me watching this, I was watching this live on TV. It was, of years of football that I've watched, one of the most painful moments to watch it. Legendary broadcaster Joe Buck was with Troy Aikman, former quarterback, Hall of Famer for the Dallas Cowboys. And when you don't have words to say about the situation and you cut to commercial immediately after you come back on, that right there is intense. It's a moment where you're just like, okay, this is serious. He's not moving. What is going on? And unbeknownst to the audience at that time, and I believe Joe Buck came on there and he said that Damar Hamlin was going into cardiac arrest and they were trying to resuscitate and shock his heart. Your emotions are all over the place because this is the game you love to watch as a fan, despite it being, if your team is playing or your team's not playing. It's just so exciting to watch and see, especially if you're leading your team to an opportunity to get to the postseason, to get to a better seeding. You want to go out there and play your best football that night or day or whatever you're scheduled. So he was on the field for 23 minutes. It seemed like an eternity because you're watching it, and I respect their decision wholeheartedly. I think it came from either both coaches on both sides of the field, or it just came from, Goodell, or however it came down to deciding not to play. And so the tough decision from all of that was, should this game count? Should this be resumed? Should, the Bengals, they were leading 7-3 and, they had the ball. The ball was in their possession at the time. What the decision was made, and it came to the conclusion that, this game was going to be thrown out to the displeasure, came across on social media, to the displeasure of several Bengals players saying, hey, we had the lead. This should count as a win. We should have an opportunity to be the #1 seed. But it did not happen with the Chiefs taking care of business this past weekend. They got the #1 seed. And so I believe they played no, that wasn't. Yeah, they did. They got the #1 seed. And so that took place. But the beautiful thing out of all of this that happened is Damar Hamlin. He was in a medically induced coma, and had woke up and was alert afterwards, and then kept getting better. He was still in critical condition and went from critical condition to actually getting on a Zoom call with some of his coach and some of his teammates. They actually saw him smiling and interacting with his players. And the cool thing was when a couple of the doctors from the University of Cincinnati Medical Hospital, and shout out to every single doctor and EMT that was, involved in helping save this man's life. He had woke up, and the first words that he had wrote down, because he had the tube that was in his mouth, he asked, who won the game? And the doctors responded, you won. You won the game of life. And so, over the next few days, him processing the fact, what happened, and, how it was in the reports that he saw him, unfortunately collapse on the field, and all the situation there. So there was reports out there that he did see that, and he was aware that, what happened, his family, his parents were there, his uncles were there. And having all of that transpire and take place. And so you get to the game he was able to get up and to, like I said, interact with his players. And you get to the game for the Bills this past weekend, which was so amazing, because here's the thing, Heard That Nation, if you don't believe in God, I respect that, that's what you choose and everything else. But there was so much God winks in this game. When the Bills took on the Patriots, and this was at home. I mean, it was just absolutely mind-blowing. So Damar Hamlin, he tweets out to his guys, I'm ready to watch the game, support my brothers. He had the heart emoji up, the heart with the hands up. Had that going, where he was well known that with the pictures that circulated around. And also, side note, his nonprofit organization, Chasing M's, that he set up in college to raise $2,500. $2,500. Okay, that's what you want to do. Ballooned up, and now it's over 8 million. And you need to check out his foundation. He does collects money, which goes and buys toys for kids for their birthdays and for Christmases and different holidays and like that there. And when I tell you, this is why I love the game of football so much, before I go into this part about the God winks all over the Patriots Bills game. Every single team that played on Saturday, on Sunday, on Monday, everybody wore anything with the number 3. So it was like prayers for Damar, and they had his jersey number is number 3. His jersey sales went number 1 on the NFL website. I think there was another website that I saw that it sold out, which was absolutely incredible. His nonprofit ballooned up, like I said, over $8 million was donated to that. Toys were donated. People from different teams wanting to do toy drives and want to help out, and just dedicating every single game to Damar Hamlin. Prayer circles. It was powerful. I think this was the Patriots Bills game, where they had a live shot of everybody coming into the middle of the field to pray. Both teams, coaches, you had the cameraman that were around. I didn't believe I saw a cameraman that was also, there. He was bowing his head to pray. Everybody there for number 3. Both number 3s in the Broncos Chargers game. Russell Wilson was they both met in the middle. And I believe it was Walker, and I can't recall his first name. And they met in the middle, and they prayed. That was a powerful moment. Just, you see so many of that, and how it isn't about the game itself. It's about coming together for a person that loves the sport, that was a 6th-round draft pick, that, every time that he was on that field, he, put everything into every single play. That is why I love this game. And it's more about the pigskin. It's more about, wins and losses, even though you want the wins and not the losses. But to have people tweet about, prayers for Damar, hope he's okay. I want him to wake up. I want him to, be okay. Prayers for his family. No mother, and his mother was in the stands at the time when he did collapse. No mother should have to witness that. It was absolutely amazing, the amount of people that came together for one incredible individual that is, through his nonprofit and everything like that there. So when it came to the kickoff, I believe the Patriots won the coin toss, and so they deferred. So the Bills won the coin toss, so they, the ball is kicked off deep into the end zone. Nyheim Hines gets it and takes it all the way back, and I believe it was a 96-yard or 97-yard return off the bat. That was the first play of the game off the bat, and it's everybody there in Buffalo Bills fans losing their minds. It's cold outside. It was just the camera picked it up brilliantly. Everybody's reaction on the Buffalo Bills bench was outstanding. Josh Allen was just like, oh my God, this is incredible. I can't believe it. And Nyheim Hines would do it again twice in the game. And so post game, Buffalo Bills won 35-23, and they're in the postseason, and they're sitting at the number 2 in the wild card. So after the game, this was absolutely incredible. And I talked about this on another show. Absolutely incredible. So he's talking postseason. He's like, yeah, he goes, we obviously dedicated this game to Damar. We can't wait for him to come back. He goes, but I just got told that it was 3 years and 3 days. This is the game that they just played with the Patriots. 3 years and 3 days to the day that they had their last kickoff return. I got goosebumps, man. I mean, even though that this was already talked about, I got them again. I mean, 3 years, 3 days. He's number 3. Everybody's prayers for number 3. How can you not, that right there is a sign. That's a God wink. That was all over that moment. And so that was absolutely powerful. So, and now Damar Hamiln has been released from the hospital. He made it back to Buffalo safely, and he is on IR for the rest of the season. But I'm going to tell you what, that man is going to be cheering as loud as he can from his house. And I'm sure that his family is going to be surrounding him with so much love and so much cheers for this family, or for him, for the Bills, for the organization. It's going to be an interesting road in this postseason because like I said, I picked them to go. But Damar Hamlin, when he was released, I just want to read this statement. This is so amazing. He said on Twitter, headed home to Buffalo today with a lot of love on my heart. Watching the world come together around me on Sunday was truly an amazing feeling. The same love you have all shown to me is the same love that I plan to put back into the world, and more, bigger than football. So he's planning to give back most definitely, because again, his nonprofit just completely blew up. So I'm excited that he is a walking miracle. And I'm so glad that he has been released from the hospital, that he is on the mend. Even if he does not, and by the way, too, even if he does not play another down, which I did not know this information of payment and everything else, that the NFL, because he's only been in the NFL 2 years, and I believe it's like 3 or 4 years is where you get a pension. So once you play 3 or 4 seasons in the NFL is where you get a pension. So a lot that the NFLPA has tweaked and retweaked, and I don't have the numbers and figures and all that in front of me, but he would have not been able to get a pension if he unfortunately cannot play again in the NFL. But it was decided that he would get his entire contract in full. And I believe it was $3.4 million for 4 years that he was going to get. And so he's getting that paid in full. I'm very happy about that he's going to be taken care of. So I hope that this, when they decide the $3.4 million that he's going to get, but this right here of this situation of this happening, if it, God forbid, it happens to another player, because again, football is a very rough sport that we all cherish, that we all love, football fans like myself, but these players need to be protected. So I hope the NFLPA, President Troy Vincent, Roger Goodell, powers that be, take a look at this and see what they can do to make sure that these players are properly compensated for putting themselves, their bodies, their mentals, all of that on the line for the sport they love, their job that they come to, That's what they got drafted for, and and get to play in their dream career, the NFL. So hopefully they get an opportunity to do so. So the wild card is coming up. I put my picks on my Heard That page, on my Heard That Facebook page. If you happen to be following, I already put my picks up. But the wild card matchups are going to be happening this weekend. Cincinnati is at home against Baltimore. We got Buffalo at home against Miami. Jacksonville, again, shout out to them for turning a full season around. Doug Peterson is my coach of the year, even though that my coach, my wonderful Lions coach, Dan Campbell, is coach of the year in my mind. But they are at home hosting the Chargers. And then you have Minnesota at home hosting the Giants, 49ers hosting the Seahawks, and then Tampa Bay hosting America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. My picks were Minnesota, Niners. I put the aging Tom Brady's because, I mean, the man is almost 46 and still is out there slinging the ball. Cincinnati, Bills Mafia all the way, and Jacksonville. Those are my picks that I had going into the wild card matchups heading on to this weekend. I want to end the show by giving all of his flowers and a shout out to the incredible, the incomparable, well, his government, Justin James Watt, but everybody knows him as number 99. JJ Watt, who has officially retired from the game of football. 33 years old, became a new father, is a husband. And, he has done so much on the field and so much off of the field. I mean, some of the accolades he's had, he's been a 3-time NFL Defensive Player of the Year. He's a Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year. He got that in 2017. Really noted for the wonderful thing that he did for all the victims of Hurricane Harvey that happened. He started a fundraiser and literally it blew up overnight, and he raised millions of dollars, and he was a man of his word and went there right on site and started handing out food and talking to people and, signing jerseys and signing, different things to everyone and hugging people and just giving them so much comfort. 5-time first team All-Pro, 2-time second team, 5-time Pro Bowl, 2-time NFL sacks leader. I think Canton needs to go ahead and get his jacket ready. I believe he is a first-round automatic Pro Football Hall of Famer. Hands down. I mean, he shouldn't even have to wait for that. Like that it should be a non-negotiable. It was awesome to watch his career. Majority of it was with the Houston Texans and on the back end with the Arizona Cardinals. So shout out to you, JJ Watt, and congratulations on a 13-year career. It was honored. I mean, as football fans, we are honored to watch what you've done for the game and what you represent for the game of football. And I know that you'll be getting a knock soon within the caliber of the 5 years that you have to wait for your name to be announced for a first-year Hall of Fame ballot, and you shall be on it. So it's going to be exciting what he does from here. If he goes into coaching, if he goes into whatever that he goes into, I know that it's going to be absolutely great. Coaching, broadcasting, it's going to be awesome. So, congratulations, JJ, on an amazing career, and good luck to you on your next chapters. And thank you, everybody, for checking me out, for listening, for watching. I appreciate you. Again, you can follow me and subscribe. I heard that with Marisa.com, and check me out on YouTube. And as I'm rocking my Honolulu blue, and I shout out to my amazing Detroit Lions. I cannot wait for football season to resume for us. And next season, well, actually, it starts with the NFL draft, but I know that we're going to get some amazing pieces, and we're gonna do the dang thing. I truly am, and I will keep saying this on every opportunity that I have. So, and hopefully have an opportunity to be there live at the draft. Your girl's gonna try to be there. That's on one of my things on my 50 things to do, my 50th year. So, appreciate everybody, and as I always end the show, take care, stay safe. And I'm going to add one on there. Check on your friends and your loved ones. We want to make sure everybody's mental health and wellness is in a good state. Take care, stay safe.